I always knew my life would end on a cold night. What I didn't know was that death wouldn't be the one to take me. It all started the evening the elders knocked on my door. Their fists were slow and heavy, the sound dragging my stomach straight into the ground. The whole village knew what that knock meant. Once a year, an Omega was chosen. Once a year, someone was taken up the mountain to the altar where the demon Alpha King waited. And this year, it was me. I opened the door, already feeling the numbness crawl through my chest. Elder Rowan wouldn't look me in the eyes. "Elias," he said quietly, "prepare yourself. The night of offering begins in 2 hours." For a moment, I just stared at him. There wasn't fear. Not really. I had lived my whole life expecting this. People like me, people born without families, without status, without bond marks, we were always the ones chosen. We were easy to give up, easy to forget. But something strange happened as the elder spoke. My skin prickled. Like the air around me shifted, like something was watching me even before I stepped foot outside. "I understand," I replied, even though I didn't, not really. The elder left. The weight of his words stayed. I dressed slowly in the white ceremonial robe they required of the sacrifices. It was thin, soft, and smelled faintly of herbs that never grew in this land. When I tied the sash, my fingers trembled. Not because I feared death, but because a strange warmth pulsed in my chest, a feeling I had never felt before. As if something inside me was waking up. I shook it off. Nerves, I told myself. Just nerves. The villagers gathered as the elders escorted me through the streets. Torches lit the path, the flames flickering against their faces. Some people looked guilty. Some looked relieved it wasn't them. Others whispered prayers I knew wouldn't save me. I kept my head down, not wanting to see their pity. The mountain path was narrow, and the higher we climbed, the colder it became. The moon was full. Of course it was. The Demon King only accepted sacrifices on a night when the moonlight matched the glow of his eyes. That was what the legends said, anyway. I didn't know if any of it was true. But as we reached the altar, I saw the proof myself. The night air grew thick, almost alive. Shadows moved even when the wind didn't. The stone platform was older than our village, older than any human. A ruined throne sat at its center, made of black crystal that pulsed like a beating heart. The elders stayed far back. They never went on to the altar themselves. "Step forward, Elias," Rowan said. My feet felt like lead, but I walked toward the center. My breaths came slow and controlled. If this was how I died, I wanted to face it with dignity. The wind stopped. The forest fell silent. A deep vibration hummed through the ground. And then he appeared. At first, I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. The shadows behind the throne twisted together, pulling into shape like smoke forming a body. Tall, broad shoulders, long dark hair that flowed like liquid night. Horns curved elegantly from his temples. Skin like obsidian, glowing faintly with red cracks, like molten lava trapped beneath. And his eyes, they were burning gold. Too bright, too alive. My heart slammed painfully against my ribs. I had thought I was ready for death. I was wrong. When his gaze landed on me, it felt like he pierced straight through my skin into my soul. Every part of me froze. He stepped forward, each movement slow and deliberate, like a predator studying prey. But then, something strange happened. He stopped, stared, and the fire inside his eyes dimmed, not with anger, but with shock. "You." His voice was deep, ancient, almost trembling. "Impossible." My breath caught. I didn't know what he meant. I didn't know what to say. His jaw tightened, his expression darkening with emotions I didn't understand. He moved so fast the air cracked, suddenly standing right in front of me. I stumbled back, but his hand shot out, long claws brushing my chin. Not cutting, just holding me still. He lifted my face gently, as if I were something precious. "Look at me," he ordered. I did. I wish I hadn't. Because the moment our eyes met, a shock ran through me. Hot, electric, overwhelming. My vision blurred. For a heartbeat, I saw something that wasn't real. A different place. A battlefield lit by red fire. A man who looked exactly like the Demon King. And someone dying in his arms, someone with my face. I gasped and stumbled back. The demon's fingers tightened slightly around my jaw, steadying me. "You felt it," he said quietly. "Didn't you?" I don't know what that was," I whispered. But I did know. A memory. A vision. A life that wasn't mine, but somehow was. His eyes softened just a little. "You are not a sacrifice." My breath hitched. "Then what am I?" His answer changed everything. "My mate." Behind me, the elders gasped. One dropped his torch. What does that mean? I asked, my voice cracking despite me trying to stay strong. He stepped closer again, towering over me. It means you belong to me. No, I tried to pull away, but he held my chin firmly. I belong to no one. For a moment, something fierce flashed in his eyes. Not anger, hunger, possession, relief, and something deeper, something broken. I have searched for you for centuries, he murmured. Across death, across rebirth, across every realm. I stared at him, confused and terrified. I don't know what you're talking about. You will, he said. Your memories will return soon. The elders began shouting from the edge of the altar. This is wrong. Take him. Kill him. Complete the offering. The demon king turned his head, and the shadows exploded outward like wings. Every elder fell to their knees, trembling. He looked back at me and said words that made my blood run cold. If I killed you tonight, the curse on my kingdom would finally break. My people would be free. He paused. But I would lose you. Again. My heart stopped. Then why don't you do it? His voice broke, just slightly. Because I choose you over the world. A storm of emotions crashed inside me. Terror, confusion, anger, something that felt dangerously close to longing. But I don't choose you, I whispered. He didn't get angry. He just smiled, a soft, tragic smile. You will. Before I could run, shadows wrapped around me like warm smoke. My body lifted from the ground, pulled toward him. He caught me effortlessly, holding me against his chest. I struggled, hitting his shoulders, but he didn't flinch. I'm not going to the fortress, I protested. You can't just take me. I can, he said simply. And I will. The world darkened. The last thing I saw was his golden eyes glowing in the rising shadows. The last thing I heard was his voice, low and certain. I refuse to kill you, Elias, because fate has already taken you from me once. I will not let it happen again. And then everything went black. The first thing I felt was heat. Not the painful kind. More like the warm breath of a fire that refused to die. It wrapped around me before I even opened my eyes, carrying a scent that was both strange and familiar. Smoke, night-blooming flowers, and something sharp that made my pulse stumble. I blinked slowly. Dark stone ceilings stretched above me, carved with patterns that seemed to move when I stared too long. The air shimmered, and shadows crawled along the walls like living tendrils. I sat up too fast, and dizziness struck me like a wave. Where was I? I remembered the altar. The demon king. His hands. His words. My mate. The memory made my chest squeeze painfully. I tried to stand, but the floor shifted under my feet. Black marble gleamed like a pool of ink. The room was large, much larger than any house in my village. Tall windows shaped like claws let in moonlight from a sky that wasn't ours. The stars looked sharper, colder, arranged in patterns I didn't recognize. This was another realm. His realm. I wasn't in the human world anymore. A chill ran through me. Then I heard footsteps, slow, sure, echoing through the hall like someone who owned every stone they walked on. You're awake. I spun around. He stood in the doorway. The demon Alpha King. Chiron. His presence filled the room long before he stepped inside. His long, dark hair fell in waves down his back. His horns curved gracefully like obsidian crowns. His golden eyes glowed faintly, tracking every breath I took. I backed away until my legs hit the edge of the bed. Don't come closer. He raised a brow, not offended, just studying me. If I wanted to harm you, Elias, you'd already know. That's not comforting. My voice cracked, and I cursed internally. He approached anyway, slow enough to make my nerves ricochet through my ribs. Every step he took made the heat in the room intensify. You fainted when the realm shift began, he said. Humans rarely handle it well. I'm not just human, apparently. I shot back. You said something about memories. About another life. His gaze softened, just slightly. They'll surface soon. Your soul remembers more than your mind does. I don't believe in any of that. You will. I hated how calm he sounded. Like everything I said was expected. Like every reaction I had was predictable. He came closer and stopped just outside arm's reach. A strange gesture from someone who could crush me with a finger if he wanted. I swallowed hard. What do you want from me? I asked. His answer came without hesitation. You. My chest tightened. I want to go home. You will not die, Elias. Not in this realm. Not by my hand. That's not what I asked. He stepped closer, and the shadows curled around his feet like loyal animals. Your village offered you to me. That makes you mine. I'm not property, I snapped. For a moment, his expression cracked. Just for a heartbeat. Like he didn't like that word either. You are not property, he said quietly. You are a soul that belongs beside mine. Everything inside me screamed at his certainty. I didn't agree to that. You did once, he murmured. A long time ago. My breath froze. He lifted a hand and reached toward my cheek. Instinctively, I flinched back. He froze, lowering his hand instead of forcing the touch. That surprised me. He could have grabbed me easily. But he didn't. You're afraid, he said softly. You weren't afraid before. Before? My voice shook. Before what? His golden eyes glowed brighter. Before you died in my arms. A tremor shot through me. My body folded back onto the bed, as if the air had turned into water. I buried my face in my hands, trying to breathe. No, that's impossible, I whispered. I don't remember any of that. You will. Suddenly, a loud roar shook the halls. The ground trembled. Shadows flared like wings across the walls. Chiron stiffened. Stay here. Like hell, I said, pushing myself to my feet even though my legs trembled. But he moved faster than wind. In 2 strides, he was in front of me, one hand gently pressing my shoulder back down. You are not safe outside this room, he said. Not yet. From what? Everyone. His eyes glowed with a new sharpness, protective, territorial, lethal. The demons know a sacrifice was brought here, he continued. Some believe killing you will finally break the curse. Some want your power for themselves. Others think you'll destroy us all. I don't even know what the curse is, I said. You don't need to, he replied. You only need to stay alive. A pulse of fear flickered through my chest. So I'm basically a target. You're a beacon, he corrected. That's worse. Before he could respond, a deep, guttural growl echoed through the hall again. Closer this time. Chiron glanced at the door, his eyes narrowing. They're coming for you. My heart slammed against my ribs. Then let's get out. We're not running. His voice was pure steel. I'm not letting them near you. The door exploded inward before he finished. Splinters of black wood flew across the floor. A massive demon stood in the doorway. Twice Charon's size, body carved with glowing red veins. Horns like jagged blades. Eyes wild with hunger and madness. The sacrifice, it snarled. Give him to us. Chiron didn't even blink. He stepped in front of me, wings of shadow rising around him like a storm. You touch him, he said, and I'll rip your soul apart. The demon lunged. Chiron moved faster. Dark flames roared from his hands. The air cracked like 1,000 storms. And then silence. When the smoke cleared, the demon lay dead on the ground, its body dissolving into ash. I stared at the ashes, shaking. Chiron turned toward me, golden eyes burning. Elias, are you hurt? No, I whispered. But I should be asking that. A sudden sharp pain stabbed my chest. The same scarlet warmth I felt on the altar, like a memory clawing upward, burned behind my ribs. Images flashed again. A battlefield. Fire. Chiron kneeling in blood. My hands, someone's hands, touching his face as everything went dark. I clutched my shirt, gasping. Chiron was beside me in an instant, his hands hovering near my shoulders like he wanted to hold me, but didn't dare. Breathe through it. The memory is resurfacing. I don't want it, I said through clenched teeth. I don't want any of this. He leaned closer, voice low, almost desperate. But it's yours. You can't run from it. I'm human. You were human, he corrected softly. This is your second life. Your soul remembers what your mind denies. I stared at him, breath uneven, vision blurring. He touched the bed beside me instead of my skin, like he was grounding himself too. You died once to save me, he muttered. I will not lose you again. His voice cracked on the last word. Not much, barely noticeable, but enough to twist something inside me. I hated that sound. I hated how it made me feel things I didn't want to feel. Why? I whispered, unable to stop the question. Why do you care this much? His eyes locked with mine. Because you are the only thing I've ever loved. The floor beneath us rumbled again, stronger this time, angrier. Chiron rose slowly to his full height, expression shifting from vulnerable to monstrous in a heartbeat. More are coming, he said. They want the curse lifted. They want your blood. My chest tightened. What curse? What does it have to do with me? He paused. And this time, he told the truth he'd been avoiding since the altar. To break the curse, he said quietly, I must kill you. My breath stopped. But I won't, he added, voice steadying. Even if it destroys my kingdom. A tear I didn't expect slipped down my cheek. Not from weakness. From fury. Confusion. Fear. All tangled into one unbearable knot. You're choosing me over your own people? I'm choosing fate, he answered. The fate we were denied once already. I stared at him as the fortress shook again. In that moment, I finally understood something terrifying. He would burn the world to keep me alive. And the world was already starting to burn. I woke up to the sound of screaming, my own. My back arched off the bed as fire tore across my chest, burning from the inside out. It felt like invisible claws were ripping me open. My vision flashed white, gold, then red. Voices roared in my ears, hundreds of them, whispering, crying, begging. But none of them were mine. I tried to breathe, but the air was too thick, too heavy. My own heartbeat sounded wrong, like it wasn't only mine. Chiron. I choked out without meaning to. The door burst open. The Demon King rushed inside, eyes blazing gold, shadows curling around him like living smoke. He reached me in seconds, grabbing my shoulders to keep me from falling off the bed. Elias. His voice was rough with fear. Look at me. Stay with me. I wanted to push him away, curse him, hit him, something. But when his hand touched mine, everything inside me exploded. A flood of memories, not mine, yet painfully mine, crashed over me. A burning battlefield, a shattered throne, a demon king falling to his knees, and a young man with my face, bleeding out in his arms. I gasped, but the vision didn't stop. More memories slammed into me, faster and sharper. The young man smiling shyly, touching Karen's cheek. Chiron kissing him with a tenderness that almost broke me. The two of them lying under a crimson sky, whispering promises. Then, a blade, a scream, blood everywhere. My blood. I saw myself die. And Chiron holding me, begging, roaring, breaking. My hand flew to my chest, to the burning mark over my heart. No, this isn't real. But it was real. Every image felt too clear, too deep to be imagination. Chiron gripped my arms tighter. Elias, listen to me. What did you see? I stared at him, my breath shaking. I saw him. His face softened in a way I had never seen. My lost mate, he whispered. Your past self. I wanted to scream, wanted to deny it. But the images still pulsed inside me. The pain, the love, the death. It all lived under my skin now. I'm not him, I whispered. I'm not that person. Chiron didn't argue. He simply brushed his thumb against my cheek, gently wiping the tears I didn't realize were falling. You are Elias, he said softly. But your soul remembers what your body has forgotten. I shoved him back, harder than I expected. He staggered, more from shock than strength. Stop saying things like that. I shouted. Stop acting like I belong to you. I didn't choose this. He didn't get angry. He simply looked tired. Ancient. Like someone who'd carried pain for centuries. I know, he said quietly. You didn't choose this life. Neither did I. Before I could reply, the fortress shook violently, stones rattling, the floor cracking beneath our feet. Chiron swore under his breath. What's happening? I asked, grabbing the bedpost as the room trembled again. The curse is destabilizing, he answered. Your awakening is speeding it up. My awakening? He nodded. The moment your past life memories started returning, the balance of the curse shifted. Another quake hit, harder. A crack split the ceiling open. Shouts echoed from outside. Demonic soldiers scrambling, wings beating in panic. What does that mean? I asked, voice shaking. Chiron looked at me with eyes full of something terrifying. Truth. It means my kingdom is collapsing. My heart plummeted. And it's because of me? No, he stepped closer, shadows shrinking from his feet like obedient animals. It's because the prophecy has begun. I shook my head, stepping away from him. Stop with the prophecy. Stop with the mate bond. Stop with all of this. I just want to be free. His expression cracked, just briefly, but that was enough. He cared. Too much. Elias, he murmured. If I set you free, the curse will consume everything. Humans. Demons. Both realms. I don't believe you. You saw your past self die for me, he said. Do you truly think I would lie about a curse that cost him his life? I flinched. I hated that he made sense. I hated that the memories inside me whispered the same truth. But I hated even more that a part of me, some echo of the soul I used to be, still loved him. I backed up until my shoulders hit the wall. I can't do this. I can't be whoever he was. You don't have to be him. He stepped forward, hand reaching out. You only have to be you. I slapped his hand away. I don't trust you. A small, sad smile tugged at his lips. Good. You trusted me once, in another life. And it killed you. This time, you don't owe me anything. The fortress trembled again, harder than before. A shelf toppled, books scattering across the floor. Chiron cursed softly. We need to get to the Hall of Shadows. It's the only protected place left. I'm not going anywhere with you, I said stubbornly. We don't have time, he growled. Well, I don't care. The floor split open beneath my feet. I screamed as I dropped, only to be caught by shadows that wrapped around my waist like warm bands. He pulled me back onto solid ground and held my shoulders firmly. His voice was low, rough. I will never let you fall again. Something inside me twisted sharply. Anger, fear, longing, everything mixed into one storm. Stop treating me like I'm precious, I snapped. Stop acting like I matter. Chiron stared at me, and then he whispered something I wasn't ready for. You matter more than the world. I froze. He continued softly. Do you know what the curse demands? Every time I love, I lose. Every time I choose, I destroy. The only way to break it was to sacrifice my mate. My chest tightened painfully. You were supposed to kill me. Yes. Then why didn't you? My voice wavered, weak and raw. You said killing me would save everyone. Why didn't you do it? He looked at me like his soul was laid bare. Because I love you more than I love my kingdom. The quake stopped. The silence afterward was suffocating. I stared at him, breath trembling, unable to process his words. He stepped closer, not touching, just close enough that I felt his warmth. Elias, he whispered, I failed my people because I chose you, and I would choose you again. Every time. The world inside me cracked. The memories of my past self flickered, smiles, touches, whispered promises, dying in his arms. My own emotions tangled with them until I couldn't tell which belonged to me anymore. I'm not him, I said again, but this time my voice was weak. Chiron nodded. I know. Then why? Because I have fallen for you, Elias. Not his memory. My throat closed. I didn't want to feel anything. But the bond under my skin pulsed like a heartbeat. Alive. Awake. Waiting. Before I could answer, a horn sounded outside. Loud, sharp, panicked. Charon's eyes snapped toward the window. His expression turned dark, furious, deadly. They've come, he said. Who? The demon factions that want the sacrifice completed, he growled. If they reach you first, they will kill you and end everything. My blood ran cold. And what do we do now? I whispered. Chiron turned back to me, shadows rising behind him like wings of darkness. Now, he said, we fight for your life. And for our future. The mark on my chest pulsed once, bright, burning gold. And I realized something terrifying. No matter how much I tried to deny it, fate wasn't done with me. Not even close. The world was ending, and it was my fault. That was the first thought that struck me as I stood on the cliff overlooking the demon realm. The sky above Charon's kingdom, once a calm purple-black, now churned with violent red lightning. Huge cracks split through the sky like broken glass. The ground trembled under my feet, the air hot enough to burn. Somewhere behind me, the ancient obelisks collapsed one by one. Demons ran across the valley below, their shadows stretching wildly, their wings torn by the unstable magic ripping the realm apart. All because I ran away from him. Because I rejected the bond. Because I refused the destiny tied to my soul. I pressed a hand against my chest. The faint mark, Charon's dormant mate mark, pulsed weakly beneath my skin. It didn't hurt. That almost made it worse. I had hurt him more than any curse ever could. Thunder cracked. The cliff shook again. I had to find him. Charon's fortress, once solid obsidian towers, now crumbled like melting stone. Demons rushed past me, some wounded, some panicked, yet none tried to stop me. Maybe they recognized me. Maybe they didn't care anymore. The moment I stepped inside the broken gate, a wave of heat slammed into me so hard I stumbled. It wasn't fire, it was his power, bleeding out unrestrained. Wild. Dangerous. Heartbroken. Chiron. I shouted. My voice echoed down the shattered hall. No answer. I moved deeper, pushing past fallen pillars and drifting shadows. Every step made my lungs burn. Every step hurt. Because every step reminded me I was the reason this was happening. I reached the throne hall. Or what was left of it. The roof had collapsed, letting red lightning streak through open air. The black crystal throne was cracked in half. Shadows whipped through the space like wounded animals. And at the center, Chiron. He was kneeling on the broken floor, one hand gripping the ground, so tightly his claws dug deep into the stone. Cracks of glowing crimson ran across his arms and shoulders like he was splitting apart from the inside. His hair hung over his face. His breath came in ragged, trembling waves. I froze. He looked shattered. I stepped closer slowly. Chiron. He didn't look up. For a moment, I thought he didn't hear me. Then he spoke, his voice low, hoarse, barely holding together. Why are you here? Not a demand. Not a threat. Just a question filled with exhaustion. Pain. Sorrow. I swallowed. I came back. His shoulders tensed. Still, he didn't look at me. You shouldn't be here, he whispered. This realm is collapsing. The curse is consuming everything. You'll die if you stay. Then tell me how to stop it, I said, moving closer. You can't. His voice cracked. You're safe in the human realm. You should have stayed there. I felt a sting in my chest. But I wasn't safe. I wasn't living. I was empty. He finally lifted his head, and the look in his eyes crushed me. He looked like someone who had lost everything twice. The bond rejected itself the moment you left, he said quietly. The realms need it to stabilize. But without your consent, without your heart, it's meaningless magic. It won't hold. Nothing will. Lightning split the sky above us, shaking the ruined hall. I took another step. Then take it. His eyes widened, not with hope, but devastation. No, he shook his head. Not like this. Not out of pity. Not out of fear. I won't bind you to a cage just to save my kingdom. I'm not pitying you, I said firmly. His lips pressed into a thin line. Then why? My throat tightened, but I didn't look away. Because I choose you. Silence fell so thick it felt like time froze. He stared at me, as if he didn't believe what he had heard. His fingers trembled where they pressed into the stone. Don't say things you don't mean, he whispered. I can't survive losing you again. I'm not leaving again, I said. Not as a sacrifice. Not as fate. Not as anything except your mate. He inhaled sharply. The cracks across his skin flickered. His power surged for a heartbeat, wild, desperate. I knelt in front of him. His breath hitched. Slowly, carefully, I lifted his hands away from the stone. His claws retracted instinctively. He looked shaken, as if he didn't know how to touch me without breaking. Elias, he breathed. I took his hand and pressed it to my chest. The dormant bond mark flared with soft light. When you refused to kill me, I said softly, you broke the curse's rules. You chose me over the world. Now let me choose you over fear. He made a low sound, half a growl, half a sob. Are you certain? He whispered. Once I mark you, our souls become one. You can't ever undo it. I don't want to undo it. A tear slipped down his cheek, glowing red like liquid fire. The sight twisted something deep inside me. He leaned forward, resting his forehead against mine. His voice trembled. Then I accept you fully, completely, eternally. The world exploded. Heat surged through my chest like a sun igniting. My mark blazed gold. His blazed crimson. They connected with a force that stole the air from my lungs. I gasped, visions flooding me in an instant. A past life. A battlefield. A kiss under falling ash. A promise spoken in starlight. A death. A resurrection. A curse. All of it crashing together as our souls fused. Karen's power roared outward, swallowing the collapsing magic, stitching the sky back together, mending the broken ground. Light burst through the ceiling, brighter than the sun. The fortress walls reshaped themselves, rising tall and whole. I felt everything he felt, pain, fear, longing. He felt everything I felt, loneliness, anger, hope. When the explosion of magic faded, he held me tightly, breathing hard. It's done, he whispered into my hair. We're truly bonded. I exhaled shakily. Good. He pulled back slightly, eyes glowing fiercely. Say it again. I smiled through the tears I didn't realize I'd shed. I choose you. He kissed me. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't careful. It was everything we had held back. Fire, hunger, centuries of heartbreak, and finally relief. When we broke apart, the sky outside had shifted. Not dark. Not cursed. Blue. For the first time in centuries. Demons gathered outside the hall, staring up in disbelief at the clear sky bathed in sunlight. The curse was broken. Chiron looked at me, not as a king, not as a demon, not as a savior, but as a mate. Our future is ours now, he said softly. I leaned into him, his arms wrapping around me. Then let's live it. Together.